I want to go to the issue of the Medevac laws. As you know, the government's still trying to get them repealed in the Senate, repeal these laws that were brought in before the election when Labor got together with the Greens and independent Karen Phelps. A lot of us, like me, said these laws would be gamed to get people into Australia. That seems to have been exactly what's transpired. But there are many on the green left of politics who want to keep the laws in place, including those from the Australia Institute. I'm joined now by their Deputy Director, Ebony Bennett. Thanks for joining us, Ebony. Why on earth would you argue that the Medevac laws should be kept in place when we've seen so clearly how they're being gamed here? People coming to Australia for dental work, people coming to Australia after apparently trying to do a home penile extension operation, and with over 140 people coming here, none of them still being in hospital.
Well, thanks for having me on, Chris. I think it's really not important what the Australia Institute thinks about this. It's a question that's before the Parliament. And the Medevac laws themselves are really quite modest, and they've been working as intended, I think, contrary to your analysis there. And as a public policy think tank, we from time to time ask members of the public what they think about public policy issues like this. And so at the end of October, we asked Tasmanians, about 1,100 Tasmanians, whether they thought the federal parliament should repeal or keep the Medevac laws, and a majority, or 62.8%, said that Parliament should keep those Medevac laws in place, and around a quarter thought they should be abolished. So,
yeah, but your question,
these are quite modest proposals. Well,
first up, you're asking Tasmanians, and that's a pretty selective sample there. But you've said that the law deals with refugees or people seeking asylum getting urgent medical assistance, and under the law, you know, they can come to Australia. The point is, it's been proven not to be urgent medical assistance because none of them are still in hospital, and only about a dozen ever went to hospital, and they all checked out. People are coming here to get their teeth fixed or whatever. As I say, some guy injecting his own penis. This is exactly what we all said would happen, that the doctors would just sign forms and make calls.
On the basis of independent medical advice.
Exactly, activist doctors.
Just because they're not in hospital does not mean that they're not getting acute medical attention that they require. Mental health issues often do, you know, hospital is not the best place to recover from mental health issues.
Well, we also know they were getting all that medical attention in Nauru and Manus Island as well. They were overwhelmed with medicos and medical attention there.
12 people have died in offshore detention over the last 6 years, Chris. 12 people have lost their life. And in at least one of those cases, a coronial inquest found that death was preventable. So people are not getting the medical attention that they require. Of course they're getting the medical... The AMA and others have said so.
All right, well, there's never been an example put forward of someone not getting the medical attention they require, and yet here we are, 140...
I just gave you an example of one person who the coroner said their death was preventable.
Well, their death was preventable doesn't mean they weren't getting the medical attention they required on Nauru or Manus Island. And the point is, you've had 140 people brought here, not one of them in hospital.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, because actually the Minister himself has brought more than 90 people to Australia, or approved them for medical temporary transfer here, separate entirely to the Medevac laws.
Exactly.
I think you would agree that there's no one who supports national security or border security probably more than Peter Dutton. So if anyone is undermining our national or border security, it's the Minister who has brought almost 100 people in a process entirely separate, has approved them for medical transfer because they require it. That's entirely separate to Medevac.
Spot on. You've just proven exactly the case there as to why these Medevac laws are not required, because people who needed medical attention were brought to Australia, and under the Medevac laws, it's just anybody else trying to get in around that. Thanks so much for your time, Ebony Bennett.
If that doesn't pose any threat to Australia's national security laws,
because they're coming
why is the government arguing against these laws?
Because they're undermining the border security regime that you oppose. So they're just trying to bring down the border security regime.
This independent medical panel has actually upheld the Minister's decision in, I think, 45 of the 57 cases they reviewed. They only overturned the Minister on 13, so he still maintains the ability to use national security issues to turn people down who are not appropriate.
Sure he does, but 140 people have got in through the back door. Thanks very much for joining us, Ebony Bennett. We are right out of time.
Thank you.
And as Ebony Bennett said, even before Medevac laws, people came here if they needed medical attention. So the Medevac laws have turned out to be exactly that, a backdoor way around Australia's offshore detention regime.